They say the earth remembers every hand that meets it, and sometimes it asks a riddle: do you scratch the surface or reach for what lies below? The farmer woke when the mist hung like soft cloth and heard that old question as plainly as a bell, and he turned his palms toward the soil, feeling the answer twitch beneath his nails. He would choose how deep to listen. Across a narrow lane, two neighbors stood with the same seeds and different eyes, Eben, who measured life by patience, and Jor, who counted speed as wisdom. They nodded as if agreeing on the surface of things, but in silence each carried a different plan into the field. The decision would pull the seasons into a test. It is told that markets are like weather. They hurry and shout and promise fast fortunes to those who listen without looking deeper. Jor heard the markets whisper quick return, shallow work, reap now, and it gleamed like a coin in his palm, tempting him toward haste. He would hurry to the plow. Eben walked the fields with the patience of someone who listened to years rather than hours, kneeling to feel the soil and mark the roots of ancient grasses before he raised his hoe. He spoke softly to the land as if asking permission, and beneath his voice the earth seemed to answer with a steady, patient yes. He would begin to till deep. Jor drove his plow briskly, turning only the thin top of the earth to save time, and the soil he left was loose and warm and easy to seed, promising an early sprout. Villagers watched and praised his quick green rows, and Jor's chest swelled with the pride of visible speed. He would trust the bright first leaf. Eben's furrows sank deeper, the hoe revealing dark hollows where roots might reach and water might linger through drought. His back ached, and his hours stretched long like the shadow of an old tree. He spoke to no one of his toil, for the work was not made for applause, but for seasons not yet born. He would keep the steady rhythm. Neighbors praised Jor for quick results and asked Eben why he wasted hours for what seemed to be the same seed and same sky, and doubt fell like a cold wind on the older man's shoulders. Eben only smiled, for he had seen winters that spoke differently than spring applause, and he trusted the slow voice of the land more than the loud voice of crowd. He would keep tending where praise could not reach. The weather turned like a cautious friend's mood. Heat arrived and then held, and clouds that promised summer rain passed like quiet riders with no stop. Jor's shallow roots drank the first days eagerly, but found no hidden store when the sky withheld, while Eben's deep roots touched cool secrets that the surface denied. The field would show its first truth. Jor's plants, having reached quickly for sun, curbed their reach, and the leaves curled under heat, their hunger for deeper water unanswered. Neighbors murmured and offered quick remedies that patched nothing. Jor grew uneasy and wondered if speed had been a thin friend, while Eben walked his rows and found young green steady and stubborn in the dry, as if rooted to an ancient promise. He would keep walking the lines of his work. Trouble breeds offers. Old merchants and eager neighbors suggested richer compost, secret feeds, and trade for quick grain, all quick fixes for a field that needed depth rather than surface gloss. Jor, desperate for speed, took many of these bright bandages, and for a time his rows lifted their heads and promised a second spring. He would learn the price of quick patches. Eben watched the bright remedies and felt a temptation that is older than fields, the temptation to make work look easier than it is. But he measured his actions against the quiet ledger of seasons, not the ledger of applause. He added compost where the soil truly needed it, patted a furrow closed, and waited for the life beneath to answer in its own time. He would not trade depth for temporary shine. One night a storm arrived, not as a foe but as a reckoning. Rain came in a hard, furious sheet, and then stilled like an interrogator waiting for answers. Waters ran and pooled, washing shallow furrows and exposing brittle roots, while deep hollows held and softened, their hidden reservoirs and secure anchors spared from the storm's ire. The morning would reveal the cost of choices. After the storm, villagers walked the mud and counted what remained, and where roots had held in depth, shoots rose stubbornly, while the quick-tended rows had been scoured bare or made rocky and thin. Jor's face, once buoyant, hollowed with the sight, and he understood with a bitter clarity that what he had saved in time he had spent in strength. He would stand at a crossroads. Some say the bravest act is to admit error and begin again on humbler terms, and Jor walked to Eben with empty hands and a quiet question, asking if he might learn the deeper work. Eben, who had known impatience in younger bones, welcomed him without scorn and offered not pity but a place at the field's edge to begin anew. They would labor together in a new rhythm. Jor worked the deep furrows with Eben, learning to read where roots might thirst or find shelter, learning that depth asked for different tools, patience, small sacrifices, and steady hands. Their work was slow and often silent, punctuated by small discoveries, a root unbroken, a pocket of cool earth that felt like secret victories. They would watch the quiet growth together. Seasons turned with a different weight now. Instead of a quick green, the field grew a steady green that thickened and deepened, a richness that did not shout but filled the land like good bread fills a table. Neighbors came to see not a miracle but the quiet consequence of labor measured over years rather than applause, and some began to scratch less at the surface and more at the deep. The harvest would become a story. When the harvest came, it filled baskets heavy and whole, and families ate from jars and granaries that would not thin in the lean months, for roots had found stores where none were seen from above. Jor and Eben sat with bread and simple stew and spoke softly of small errors turned into lasting practice, each realizing that the field had taught them more than farming. It had taught them the architecture of patience. They would carry that architecture home. The farmer who tilled deep had the steadier house, the longer table, and the quiet knowledge that foundations unseen carry the heaviest loads. The parable is that growth, like roots, comes from what you prepare for seasons ahead rather than for the applause of now. Remember, build beneath the surface, invest time, patience, and depth, and your harvest will hold through storms. And these are the financial lessons to carry. Invest in foundations, resist quick fixes, and let compound strength grow. This is the end of the parable at its wooded